Wow, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Cindy. So this morning, we're going to start out with our first speaker. He is a tribal leader, a farmer, rancher, father, grandfather, and veteran, and has been involved with the IAC since 1986, before we were even formed. We weren't formally organized, and he served as the president of the IAC Board of Directors for the past 21 years. He has served as a tribal council representative for his nation, the Red Lake Band of Chippewa Indians, and currently serves as a realty officer for his tribe. He has been a tireless advocate on behalf of Indian agriculture, and we are lucky to have him here today in person with us to offer the welcoming address. Please help me welcome Board President Harlan Beaulieu.
Wow, thank you. Hard to follow up on an introduction like that, you know. But anyway, welcome. I'd like to thank you all for attending the 34th annual meeting of the Intertribal Agriculture Council. Last year, because of the pandemic, we were unable to hold our annual meeting, but we still held the meeting, although we did it online to protect ourselves. This year, we do have vaccinations, so we're able to hold a meeting, though some chose not to attend and are still self-protecting and staying at home. But thank you that are here for attending. I want to thank our staff for putting together this meeting. You know, the dangers they put themselves through in this dangerous time. They're still out in the field doing their work. They're out in the communities helping people, working through this situation. They're still staffing our office and working. Despite the enormous dangers that exist, they're continuing the effort to keep Indian agriculture productive. Without the brave staff we have today, this event wouldn't happen right now. Thank you all. Thank our staff. I want to give them a hand. Our organization began its formation in 1986, and we held our first meeting in 1987. That's, you know, say 34 years ago, 35 years ago. We're America's first farmers. I heard people over time say they forced us onto reservations and tried to make us farmers. That fact is not true. We always were farmers. We fed ourselves, you know, since time began. You know, we weren't forced to become farmers. We always were farmers. We ate, you know, that's a fact. No matter what, we've always fed ourselves. Before the coming of Christopher Columbus and the Pilgrims, you know, it didn't make no difference. We were doing what we did since time began. So we had food. We continue to eat right today. We're all good eaters yet today. Look at me. You know, over 55% of all food that's eaten in the world today was first produced by us here in the Americas. That's a fact. You know, our ancestors, we gave the world corn, beans, squash, the three sisters. You know, we used to plant those, and we grew those crops together, so we didn't have to cultivate them so often. You know, we could plant them together and then leave them. You know, we could go off and we didn't have to hold them and attend them so much, and if you grew them together, then you crush this world without chocolate today. Everything we have today is without chocolate, man, this place would be a mighty dull place. Yeah. We had, established farm fields and gardens throughout the Americas, which, when we're taken over by the pilgrims and settlers, like you look at the battles when the Cherokees were forced westward in the Trail of Tears. The settlers, they were forcing the Cherokees off their lands. When the Chippewas were forced out of the Ohio Valley, those were cornfields in that area. When we lost the lands of the Red River Valley of the North, that was the best farmland, some of the best farmlands in the world. You look at all these different areas of farmlands that we were forced off of. These were our farmlands and such. So we were involved in agriculture. These fields weren't developed. We already had these fields. So, you think of agriculture. We owned all of this agricultural land. These were all part of us. This part of our history. A little sidebar note I wrote to myself here. I was thinking back at something I read a while back. One time, I was reading in a history book, the explorer Ponce de Leon. He was traveling across the states of Florida and Georgia. He was searching for the fountain of youth. And, he noted in his daily journals that he was crossing gardens and such daily. And of course, he was tromping across these lands and such, and they were all gardens and stuff. And he was ruining gardens and stuff on a daily basis. And tromped with his pigs and horses and such, and the pigs were eating all the gardens and stuff of our farms and such, and looking for the fountain of youth, and he was tramping through the fountain of youth. That was our gardens. The buffoon, he didn't even know he was already in the fountain of youth. So that's what you have there. And they were discovering, Daniel Boone discovering the trail, the Oregon, or the different trails and such, that trade routes across America and such. These are already established. Route 66 is a common trail, today across America. We had Route 66 already. The Chisholm Trail, the Appalachian Trail, the Cumberland Trail, Bonner's Pass. These are all our trade routes. We traversed the rivers and mountain ranges across America. So we already had trade routes across the Americas and such, both North America and South America. We crossed the Americas with trails and such. So these routes that are here today, or we used already in our history. So we had these routes. Looking back in our history, many of the powwows and such that we have today were ceremonies for good crops, for favorable weather, then we also used the powwow to thank the Creator for a good crop. So today, that was part of our history also, and that tied in with agriculture. And, even you look at our history and wars between ourselves. Many times we fought wars over areas to hunt, to gather crops, to grow crops, so agriculture is our history. And, that gives examples of how agriculture is tied to our past history. And also now I'd like to change the subject a little and give a special thanks to the ladies who've helped us survive in history as part of as part how we survived with the help of Our Ladies, who, after the coming of the non-Indian people, who helped us survive the catastrophe and the defeats we suffered. Through their gardens, we lost many of our great leaders and the men who fought the battles that the ladies had to pick up where the men that were the leaders were lost. The ladies continued to grow their gardens, and that led to our survival. They grew our children and saved our race. Without those gardens, we would not be here today. So in that way, they saved our race. Those small gardens that were grown by the ladies, that was the effort that saved us. Today, the ladies are still part of our farming effort. In modern times, many of the farm operations depend on the ladies for off-reservation work. They help the farms survive yet today. In many ways, they're a continued effort of all of our operations. So I want to give a special thank to all of our ladies here in the audience, and I'll give them a hand. I want to address the youth. They're our hope for the future. The youth must continue to become educated. You are a hope for the future. Agriculture requires advanced levels of technical skills and specialized degrees, business skills, and you have a huge task on hand. You need to save Mother Earth from global warming, grow a crop, and feed a starving world. A small task, but we are counting on you. We need you. Thank you all. Please enjoy our annual meeting.